Isabella Pelizzatti, in your winery in Sondrio in Valtellina, you grow almost entirely Nebbiolo. Can you explain us a bit more on that variety which most people normally associate with Piemonte, but is so close linked to Valtellina as well?
Yes, Nebbiolo has been grown in Valtellina for really millennium, so more than centuries, and since really the beginning of we recall up to the Romans time, because really Nebbiolo, that we locally call chiavenasca from a dialect word that means more adapt to be transformed into wine. So since the beginning of the growing of the grapes, they realized that this grape was giving the best results. So we go back to the Romans' time, and even during the 1,000 years. So the Nebbiolo was so famous and so well present in Valtellina. Probably was still related to monasteries there, but until the beginning of the 90s, in Valtellina we were used to have more than 5,000 hectares. So was massive production. Every family was related to the Nebbiolo, either in production or in commerce, and so really was so present. Really Nebbiolo was the key word in Valtellina, and to be honest, we've been doing some genetical research together with the famous CNR in Turin regarding the Nebbiolo, from the origin of the Nebbiolo, together with the Fondazione Foianini Research Center in Sondrio. And what's amazing is that it's appearing that well, those studies are not finished yet because they are very long. But from a genetical point of view, in Valtellina there is much more biodiversity. So that could let you think that could have been the origin area, because there are not only 3 clones, but we've been selected at least 10 clones in Valtellina, and much more to discover. So those research are still going on, but that's very interesting. So we've always been really linked to Nebbiolo. That apparently it's just focusing in the mountain regions, following more the alpine profile through Europe, because even Langhe, it's sort of the end of the Alps, and even North Piemonte, of course, is still very much related to the mountain area. And then the Valtellina, like a small little valley just east-west on top of Lake Como, with this very much special climate and micro conditions, have been always the special, let's say, embrace for the Nebbiolo.
Mm-hmm. You were talking about Valtellina as the place of Nebbiolo if we look into ancient times. Valtellina is also very special in terms of its landscape, its climatic conditions, and, for example, visually already obvious. It's such steep slopes, small plots, only manual labor is possible. So can you explain a bit on these conditions in your winemaking area, as it is really particular, you have to say?
Yes, it's absolutely special. So it's all terraced with stone walls, and very steep, because we can reach 200, 300 meters steepness very, very quickly. And it's all manual work, because you really cannot mechanize in any way. So we have roughly something like 1,200 hours per hectare. It's all manual work, which means more or less 1 person per hectare per year, compared to other areas like the Langhe, for example, where you can mechanize, and normally a company like us that we own 10 hectares roughly, so can be normally done by 2 people, when we need to employ more or less 10 people permanently through the year. So, and those terraces are very particular, because they make really the speciality of the area, and we are also working in order to insert those terraces into the UNESCO heritage, and we really hope to be successful because this could bring much more tourism and more awareness and knowledge about Valtellina, because I think it's something very unique, and if we take the walls linear, it will be 2,500 kilometers of length. So can you imagine?
Incredible.
So it's twice Italy, and so really we hope to be successful in this thing, because this could bring a big future for Valtellina, especially because, as I was saying before, we were still having 5,000 hectares at the beginning of the centuries, and then in the 70s we still have something like 3,000 hectares. And nowadays we have less than 800 hectares left. So I think we need really to secure them and to treasure those vineyards, because the future needs to be bright.
That's right. You were talking about economic difficulties, just in terms of investment in land, 1,200 hours per hectare per year. When we now come to the wine, we have here in front of us a Sassella 96. That's a wine which is just coming from your cellar. So economically seen, 15 years after its vintage, it's now at the beginning of being splendid for consumption. Maybe you could talk a bit about the wine we are tasting now, but also a bit about that difficulty in terms of retaining it so many years in your cellar before you sell it.
Sure. Well, what we strongly believe is that Nebbiolo really needs time to express its best, and really we think time is our best friend. And in the top vintages, what we like to do is really to do very long macerations in order to extract what the best nature is giving to us. And then we are going to do a very long aging as well, so at least 4 years in big chestnut botti that are, gently taking care of the wine. And then at least we keep for 3 or 4 years in bottle before releasing. So we end up normally on the best vintages to release after 10 years average, and sometimes even more. And for example, 96 was such a very much classic vintage, and we really noticed that true aging was expressing always best and best. Of course, it's a big investment, because even to keep the wine in bottles on top of the botti, but it makes a lot of sense to us, because if you keep the wine for so long and you want to release when you think they are at their best, then of course those wines can be still kept for very long, because Nebbiolo, it's just such a long-lasting wine. And for example, we've been able to taste the most whole bottle for the 60th birthday of our father, and was a 1942 bottle.
Incredible.
It was amazing, and still so fresh and incredible. You don't even imagine that a wine can last so long. But and to be honest, 1942 was not such a great vintage. So even a medium vintage, if you of course well keep the bottles, can last very long. So I think
let's taste it.
Let's taste it. I always love the color of this wine, first of all, which is slightly less thick of the standard Nebbiolo we are used to know. But as I like to say, it's very much ruby crystal clear.
Yes.
Which is those transparency keeps the wine very much alive. And what I like most is all this minerality and this freshness that comes out. It's really like a syrup of rocks, as I like to say, where this minerality is taking the wine to really be so easy to drink. So it makes in the wine so easy to match with food as well. So you can really enjoy to match with whatever food you like, more or less. So either with the traditional dishes from the region that are very full of special cheese and a lot of game meat as well. But because of these characteristics of really lightness in a way, it can go match very well even with fish, which is a bit unusual. But we really think is matching well, and I like of all those special spices that you can get a little bit of smoke as well. And there is a particular spicy that I always recall straight in our wine, which is cardamom, which is very much straightforward. And you could smell for hours, because being so long also through the aging in bottles, you really need to leave this time to open itself, to express its best. But you just need to be patient all the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you.